So we've been discussing food and whether you're a fussy eater. Some extraordinary stories, because everyone's very, very different. And we're discussing it today because the story we saw in a newspaper, one of the newspapers today, discusses a young boy who the paper describes as a fussy schoolboy who only ate chocolates and crisps and has finally had a proper meal thanks to hypnosis. So this young lad is only 8 years old. His name is Rocco O'Brien. He was treated by hypnotist David Kilmurry, who joins us now. David, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you. How are you today?
David, I'm well. Thank you for joining us, David. Nice having you on the programme. Tell us more about the disorder that this young boy was diagnosed with, and in fact, your own personal experience of dealing with it.
Well, I used to have it myself until the age of 14. So I've got a slight advantage in understanding the disorder myself. Having had it until the age of 14, I was exactly the same as Rocco. Well, not quite with. Mine was Findus, pancakes, Heinz beans and McCain fries, nothing allowing to touch. And Rocco was a little bit more extreme with the chocolate and the crisps only. But Rocco's fantastic recovery already. He'd been eating lots of foods and sending videos in of his 10 out of 10. So we're really, really proud of him and his mum.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at first glance, my initial reaction was poor parenting, but that's not the case at all, because Rocco is autistic and it can be very difficult, incredibly difficult, if your child, for whatever reason, doesn't eat what you prepared. But just talk us through, David, has the paper got this right? This young lad was literally surviving on Nutella, the chocolate spread, chocolate bars, packets of Pringles, I don't know how anyone can afford those, and washed down with Nesquik.
This is correct. It's all kind of chocolatey items. So obviously, on top of being autistic, he was suffering with sugar addiction and the attention issues on top of everything else. There's no reason why anybody can't learn how to eat at some point with the right kind of support. But obviously, his mum explained that from 18 months old, which is the same age as me when I had it, we learned to reject foods. And we stick with a set of what we call safe foods. So poor Rocco was surviving on these foods, not knowing how to break open into other foods that everyone else was in his family was eating freely. So yeah, bless his little soul.
In a way, a bit of an addiction for Rocco, because all those chocolatey foods, are very lovely as an occasional treat, but a lot of sugar in there, and it gives you that. So he's autistic, also with the chocolate. That sort of sugar high, always going up, and then the crashing down again afterwards.
Absolutely. When the blood sugar levels drop down, it spikes, gets us stressed, and mood swings and everything else that's associated with an addiction as well. So yeah, absolutely.
So you had a slightly different addiction, but I quite like the way you described your food. Actually, again, every now and again, lovely, but if it's what you're eating all the time, a bit of an issue. How did you go about helping Rocco?
Well, everybody's an individual, so I started, like I always do, by building a rapport. So Rocco loves football, so we started playing football in the clinic and talking about football. And this then as the trust sort of grew, I was able to tell Rocco about my journey with the food and explained that I found it hard. This is when we introduced hypnotherapy and started working with him and the new foods. And that's how it works. I mean, I've helped. There's lots of people that have come through the doors over the years, and 20 years now I've been committing my life to helping people to come out the inside of the food phobia. It is literally a phobia. At least we do something, the more scared we are of addressing it. And
David, sorry to cut in. Is it a bigger problem, the issue of what we eat and the disorder? Is it a much bigger problem than we at first understand?
Absolutely. Well, because it's quite humiliating as well. Well, one thing that Mum Heidi mentioned in the newspapers today and yesterday was that she was under quite a bit of attack as a mother from all the different health professionals, being guided down the wrong routes, really. And I'll have the same kind of blueprint when I speak to a client. As soon as they pick up the phone and start talking to me, saying that the GP says they'll grow out of it. The nutritionist said just put something on the plate. If put something on the plate, then then the likelihood is that we won't be able to visually understand it and send it back. So there's a lot more family suffering with it than you can imagine. Feeling humiliated and not wanting to, not knowing where to go as well, and suffering as my family did growing up in the 80s. We didn't have anything like this ARFID, as it's called, avoiding restrictive food intake disorder. It's only just been spoken about this year, and because I was in the 80s growing up suffering with it myself. But the DSM-5, which is the manual or the Bible, if you like, for how to love myself, and the NHS obviously run from it as well. I'd only just started to talk about it, although it's widespread. It's a problem that is it's devastating, and a lot of people get misdiagnosed and have children been admitted to hospital and being drip fed, and all sorts of misdiagnoses of anorexia, for example, which is completely different and dangerous to an ARFID sufferer with an anorexia sufferer. So obviously, we're looking for excuses why we can't eat, and then if we picked up, well, we might be scared of being fat, on top of not being scared of what the food might taste like, then it multiplies the problem.
David, you're clearly very good at what you do, and you've helped this young lad. I mean, 2 sessions, the paper says, and then he's tried other foods. What was that like? I mean, have you, after a bit of hypnosis from you, a bit of help from you, more than a bit of help, as we said, he's eating other foods. I mean, that must be a huge sense of pride.
I am honoured to do my work, and I love, absolutely adore watching children eating foods that they couldn't eat before. And we introduce some, I wouldn't telegraph this to any of my current spouses come in, but we do introduce food immediately after the hypnosis. I'm quietly confident that we can all eat, and there isn't anything to be suspect about food. No, I'm going to have to call the fire brigade ambulance or paramedics out because someone's eating some new fruits or apples or oranges or something that they haven't eaten before. And we introduced it straight after. And I'm very much humbled by what I witness on a day-to-day basis with my lovely clients. I love doing it. I'm quite passionate. I do work from the heart dangerously, but it seems to work, so I'm going to continue going as I am.
You'll do that. You're clearly very good at what you do. David, thank you so much for joining us, hypnotist David Kilmurry, who worked with this young lad. Look, let's talk about, we can talk about this story if you want, but are you a fussy eater? What this boy had was a bit more than being a fussy eater. The headline perhaps belies the depth of the story, because he's autistic, this lad, and had other issues as well. But we'll discuss